Hi, I'm Jacinta, a clinical nutritionist. And in the Facebook group last week, I asked people to tell me what was their worst symptom going through the menopause transition. And number one, not surprisingly, maybe, came up as brain fog. So I'm just going to take 10 minutes now to run you through why it happens and what you can do to beat it. So, firstly, brain fog is real, as you will know, particularly if you're watching this. And the brain fog that you experience through the menopause transition is predominantly really struggling to recall your words, not being able to maintain focus as you were able to previously, and also a reduced ability to multitask. And I said I wasn't surprised because it is a real common symptom, one of the most common symptoms from perimenopause through to postmenopause, and is actually reported more in postmenopause than perimenopause, and you'll see why shortly. Um, so there is good news though, it does disappear after menopause. Yay for our bodies being amazing. So, firstly, why do women get brain fog through this transition? So, most of you will know that the drop in estrogen is the cause of the menopause transition, as our ovaries stop secreting a large amount of estrogen and then our menstrual periods stop. But estrogen has a neuroprotective effect on the nervous system. So, it's been doing some really good stuff for our brain, and that stops as we go through this transition. And it's the hippocampus, which is where the memory function of the brain is, that has a lot of estrogen receptors on it. So, how any hormonal receptor works, and we'll just use estrogen as an example, is your cells have receptors on them for specific hormones. So the memory cells have a lot of estrogen receptors on them, but because we have less estrogen floating around the body, then there's not enough estrogen to attach to all of those receptors. And it's when the estrogen attaches to the receptor that it activates the activity in the cell. So what it means is if we've got less estrogen floating around, then those cells aren't as active as they previously were. So scientists still don't know exactly how it works. We're still learning so much every year about the biology of the body. And there are a number of theories, but the key thing they do know is that it is related to estrogen. So that drop in estrogen is what's happening. So does it go away? So as I said, the good news is yes, because your body is an amazing organ, and what happens is the brain is able to adapt to this lower estrogen. And it's only in the last 20 years that we've started to understand like neuroplasticity and the fact that the brain does continue to create new neural pathways. And so it's this that actually is enables us to come out of menopause at the other end, postmenopausal, and for our body and our brain to have adapted to this lower estrogen so that the brain fog does go away. So studies, you can see that there is a change in the grey matter volume and brain biomarkers from premenopause to people going through the transition and postmenopause. And as I mentioned, we do recover postmenopausal from this. So there is good news. And if you think about it, many of you may have teenage daughters. I do. And seriously, her brain is all over the shop at the moment. And anytime your brain is going through a lot of changes due to hormonal changes, it takes time for the neural pathways to reconfigure. And so that's effectively what's happening to the menopausal brain in reverse of what happened to a teenage girl's brain. So what can you do to improve brain fog? This is the most important thing, I think. Number one is actual physical exercise and moderate intensity physical exercise. When I say moderate intensity, the best way to gauge whether you are exercising at that level is that you can talk comfortably, but you can't sing. If you can sing, you need to kind of increase the intensity a bit. And examples of moderate intensity is brisk walking up hills, bike riding, jogging. And the other thing I highly recommend to all women from this age onwards is to do some weight resistance exercises. The weight resistance exercises have been shown to improve brain fog and brain function. And they're also fantastic from now till for the rest of your life. It's really important because you start losing your muscle every year. And so weight resistance exercises helps reduce that. And the reason that it is so important is that the first thing is that it increases blood flow to the brain. And so that encourages more activity. It means there's more nutrients getting to the brain, and that does increase the grey matter. And really importantly, it increases a molecule called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and that actually increases memory and learning. So really important to do this as your brain is adapting. My favourite activity, and the favourite activity of my recently passed away 103 grandmother, was dancing. Dancing is fantastic for the brain because it encourages new neural pathways if you're learning a new dance, and to be able to coordinate memory and the physical movement and then all the benefits of the physical activity is my number one recommendation for exercise. So what can you do to improve your brain fog? The other one is nutrition. Nutrition plays a key role in brain health, particularly omega-3s. And omega-3s are found predominantly in fatty fish. I've listed a number of them here. Sardines are fantastic. I know they're not everyone's kettle of fish, pardon the pun. But salmon, mackerel are also fantastic. And the reason is because they're anti-inflammatory. So as you get older, our bodies naturally, as they age, become inflamed to the point there's a word inflammaging. And so that's going to affect your brain as well. So taking omega-3s and incorporating them in your diet will help you reduce inflammation. So really important. The other thing you can do with your diet is look to incorporate more antioxidant-rich foods. So you really want vegetables, and I've said eat the rainbow here, which means have a number of different coloured vegetables. So they contain all different polyphenols, which are fantastic nutrients that support your body, particularly in terms of reducing the inflammation and also reducing the stress, the oxidative stress that your body gets. Leafy greens are particularly fantastic. There's a diet called the MIND diet that was developed to reduce the effects of dementia, and that recommends 1 cup of leafy greens a day. So incorporate those into your diet because they are full of antioxidants. And thirdly, berries. Berries are great. You can have them on breakfast or have them as a snack. Try and incorporate them in your diet a couple of times a week too. And finally, just referring back to that inflammaging, so wine, if you're having more than 1 glass of wine a day, can actually be inflammatory. So try and limit your glasses of wine to 1 a day. Particularly women in this age group are often the bigger drinkers in Australia. So I do recommend you try and kind of to just 1 glass of wine a day. So the takeouts from today is brain fog is real, and it is due to the drop in estrogen. And you'll see that is why you can't recall words. That's why I'm doing this with a PowerPoint slide in front of me, because there's no way I could remember all of this. And also that multitasking function that we're all so proud of and women are so good at, that does drop as well, because whilst multitasking isn't actually something that exists, what happens is with estrogen, you are able to toggle between 2 tasks really quickly. And with the decline in estrogen, we do lose the ability to toggle faster than men. So we come back to the pack. That's a bit sad. However, the good news is the brain adapts to lower estrogen. So our brains do start working again, and they're equal post-menopause as they are to premenopause. So that's positive. What we've got to do is just try and support our bodies as well as we can to encourage that adaptation. And the way that you can do that is by increasing physical exercise, eating the rainbow in vegetables every day, including a cup of leafy greens if you can, and adding antioxidant berries into your diet a couple of times a week. So finally, I just want to say, grab one thing from the list above and add it to your week starting tomorrow. And then you can come back, have another look at this video next week and see if there's something else you want to include in your diet or lifestyle to help reduce the brain fog. It's awful, but you can improve it by taking a few of these tips. So good luck, everyone. And I hope you got something out of today's video. See you next time.